Welcome to the Sonny and Cher pod. We are going to do a quick recap on Harland. We're going to talk AFCON final madness. And we're going to delve into the key battles, much to Alex's displeasure. How are you doing, Alex? How was your week? Well, not week off, but how was your time off earlier in the week? Are you all good? Are you recovered from your defeat against me?
Yeah, mate, what can I do? This just sums up my season, that I play a triple captain on someone playing Burnley at home, and he scores 2 goals that are disallowed, probably rightfully disallowed, and Liverpool are just dreadful. And then the rest of my team decide, nah, don't worry about it. We don't want to turn up today.
It was an extremely low-scoring week, wasn't it? But we'll get onto that later. First and foremost, let's talk about AFCON, right? Because I've only seen a couple of clips circulating around, and I think you know a bit more about it than I do. But Senegal won. I think it was 1-0, wasn't it? It was just one goal in it.
Time. Yeah.
But that only tells like 10% of the story. There's absolutely other crazy stuff going on, including some fights between ball boys and towel witchcraft and other craziness. So let's do a quick recap.
So those of you that have seen it will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, I would very much so go on to Twitter or X or whatever it's called and just search towel witchcraft AFCON final. Just see what comes up. My goodness, what a bizarre... I watched bits and pieces of it. I had it on.
Yeah.
What a bizarre game it was. It always is in an AFCON. So obviously it was Morocco who were playing at home against Senegal. Not much happened really in the first half. It was pretty drab. And then the second half, it all kicked off. Senegal scored a goal, which probably should have been a goal. And then VAR disallowed it. Obviously, of course it did.
Yeah.
Even though it probably was a goal. And then it must have been about 5 minutes later, Morocco get the most controversial penalty that you've probably...
Should have been given, shouldn't have been given?
No, I don't think it was a penalty. But anyway, it got given. So all of a sudden, things are going mad, right? Because it's in Morocco. Social media is going mental, saying it's a fix, Morocco playing at home. So Senegal, as soon as that penalty is awarded, the Senegal manager called the players over and took them off the pitch.
They all walked off. How long did they walk off for?
In protest against the decision. I can't remember how long it was for, but they did walk off the pitch. And then in the end, it was Sadio Mane. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember him? The captain of Senegal. He then rallied the troops and brought them back on to the pitch because he thought, you know what? We need to get this. Let's just go on and win this.
We're going to get fined if we don't go back on.
Exactly. Brahim Diaz, the Real Madrid player, who actually I thought was Spanish, didn't realise he was Moroccan until the final. Apparently he's had a worldie tournament for Morocco. But he stepped up to take the penalty and just took a Panenka and chipped it straight down Edouard Mendy. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember Edouard Mendy? Yeah. Another player gone to Saudi. Chipped the ball straight down his throat. So then obviously he was distraught. Apparently he's got massive death threats from all the Moroccan fans, and he's been told he's not welcome back to Morocco. So if I were him, I would just go back and play for Spain. You'll probably be liked, which is awful, by the way. We don't condone that. It's not right.
Absolutely not. But it is silly to try Panenka at that moment in time.
It is silly, yeah. And then obviously it went to extra time, and some guy called Papa Gueye, I don't know how to say his name, scored an absolute worldie with his left foot. I think he dribbled half the pitch and then just binged it top corner. But that's not the best bit about the controversial in the final. Now, I didn't realise this happened in the first half, but I wasn't really paying attention. But I just caught a glimpse of like this. The first thing I see is there's the backup goalie running around the back end of the pitch with 2 towels in his hand, being chased by about 6 ball boys.
Okay.
And I was like, what's going on here? What's going on? And originally it appeared that the ball boys were trying to throw away Edouard Mendy's towels. They were trying to get rid of his towels. And I was like, oh, they're clearly just doing this for like gamesmanship because Mendy's having a good first half. He's pulled off a good few saves. They thought, oh, we'll just throw away his towels. Now, every time the towels were put on the goal, a ball boy would go over and lob it into the crowd. So obviously that's why the backup keeper for Senegal ended up standing with Mendy and protecting these towels, literally protecting them as if they were like a child. Like, so funny. You should get the video up of him running away because it is hilarious. So I just thought it was a bit of gamesmanship. But the next day when I went on social media, it apparently, the reason why they were taking the towels away is because there was a rumor going around that Senegal had done some witchcraft on Edouard Mendy's towels and put some magic into these towels so that every time Mendy touched them, he had magical powers in his hands that attracted the ball.
Goals, right?
To stop the ball going in the net. So the ball was more attracted to his gloves than it was to going in the goal. So, so the ball boys were then instructed to take the towels away because they'd had witchcraft done on the towels. So,
oh my God!
I mean, you couldn't make it up. Like you would. I mean, imagine what we're going to get in the World Cup in America. Like. That's happening.
I mean,
in AFCON.
AFCON's always crazy, isn't it? But that's a bit next level. Witchcraft in towels.
Yeah, madness, really. But
that does mean that everybody's back from everybody's back from AFCON now, aren't they? Including Salah, Marmoush. Salah scored 4 or 5 goals, something like that. So might make
that's
it
right.
back
Yeah,
into...
and he played last night for Liverpool, I believe, and he played quite well. So it'd be interesting to see what people do. You know, obviously it's a big punt taking Salah back because he's still 14.5 million. But we'll see. We'll see what. For those of you that have got nothing to lose, like me.
Yeah. You are. We'll talk about you in a bit, but you are looking for now. You're looking not to play it safe anymore, aren't you? You're looking for differentials. You're looking for like total
I'm
left.
behind 8th place by 12 points. I mean, like what? I need some kind of miracle, some run to go on here to close this gap.
Before we talk about that, should we talk about Harland really quickly? Because you wanted to. We've done a poll on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah, so I just did because yours and CJ's conversation the other night. If you haven't listened to the fancy episode, please do give it a listen. It was really good listen. Talking about the midfielders, and obviously you talked a bit about Harland. I found the Harland stuff interesting in the fact that now Marmoush is actually back, and obviously Harland played on Tuesday night a full 90 minutes. I know they're playing Wolves, so I just thought it'd be interesting to put a bit of a poll out on Instagram and just see what people's thoughts were around whether or not they're going to stick with him, bench him, captain him, sell him, whatever. Now, the majority of people said stick and captain, which I found interesting, given the fact of how much Pepper said he's tired and now Marmoush is actually back. And I will be intrigued. It's not like Marmoush would be unfit either because he's had a week off since AFCON and coming in. So I have a feeling deep down. No, I'm not. There's no inside knowledge here. I have a real big feeling that Harland is not going to start on against Wolves this weekend, and I think it will be Marmoush because he is back. I also don't think he's going to start Foden based after what happened last weekend and what's happened in the week. So, two big calls, which I just wanted to put a conundrum into people's heads. Especially those of you near the top of the table.
Yeah, I've obviously got Harland and Foden.
I suppose you could still take the risk on Harland, couldn't you? And have him in your team, captain him, but then just make sure you've got a solid backup vice captain and a solid first sub.
This is taking us back. This is taking us back to last season a little bit, isn't it? When, Harland was no longer the template. Like, I know he is every season, but last year he went on a really long... Was he injured or did he just go on a really long run without
I think he just went on a long period. It's when City were bad, wasn't it? They had a bad run. And he just
a lot
went
of people
quiet.
took him out. We might be reaching that point again because as we said earlier in the week with CJ, something's up with Man City. They've got a lot of injuries in defence. They're playing very differently and they're not playing to Harland's
There's also
strengths.
rumours that Pep could walk out in the next week or so.
Yeah, he hasn't really
More-
been backed, has he? Like they've only spent like 300 million or something since last summer. So
it's more of the fact that he's had enough and he'll just walk, and Maresca's right there ready to take the job.
Maresca.
Yeah, mate,
Wow.
that's the big rumor. I watched a clip on. I know it's only B in sports, but do you remember Richard Keys? Remember him? We're doing a bit of a remember him
Yes.
episode here.
Yeah.
Richard Keys and Andy Gray, who were fired from Sky
Yeah.
for making derogatory comments.
Cretins.
I know, but he made a comment on B in Sport. He didn't think Pep would last a week. He said Pep might resign and Maresca take over. Now, obviously, what does he know? He's on B in Sports somewhere in the Middle East. Like, what does he know? But Pep's still there. But
Wow.
these rumors don't come out of anywhere. There'd be some type of rumor somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think it's going to go one or two ways. Either Haaland's going to be benched, or you should triple captain him, and he's going to run riot and score a hat trick against Wolves. Like don't see
that's
any.
what will happen, won't it? It's like the Saka thing. Everyone will
Yeah.
sell Saka now because he's not really done much.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, he'll score a hat trick against United.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all that Man United
Exactly.
hype about how good they're back, blah blah blah, when they get put back down to earth by Arsenal.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That is a tough one. Foden though. So Foden, he broke his hand or bruised his hand or injured his hand, and he's a minute's risk now, and he's been quiet.
And Bruno
for weeks.
Guimaraes, what happened last night?
I think he'll be okay. Maybe I'm coping a bit there. I'm really hoping he'll be fit against Aston Villa, but he just has like a swollen ankle. I don't think it's too serious. And Howe has said, we'll see if he's fit, which basically means he's guaranteed to start, because Howe always lies in press conferences when it comes to fitness.
Arteta.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still banking on Bruno. The one I'm worried about, though, is obviously Foden. My plan was to hold Foden until this game week is over and then make some moves, but
I think he might
see.
bench. They've got so much depth there in that midfield. Basically, what I'm saying is, I don't think people would be surprised if Harland was on the bench. That's all I'm saying.
Who do you captain if you don't captain Harland, though? That is the conundrum, because
that's the tough one. Yeah, that is the tough one.
You talked
Gabriel.
about Gabriel. Actually, if you captain Gabriel every week that he started, you'd be on the same points as captaining Harland. So that is something to bear in mind.
Maybe Bruno Fernandes. Possibly. But again, that's a good question. Who do you captain? There's no one like stand out come second.
No, there's not.
You could, if you have Thiago, maybe, but they're playing Forest. Forest are okay at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tough one. Right, let's move on to key battles, shall we? I won't spend too long on the first one, just because I don't want to rub salt into your wound. But
it's fine. I've lost a lot this season. I'm used to this. It's fine.
We start with me and Alex, liveramentally ill versus Duncan Busquet, 53-33. We did bill this one a couple of weeks back as the Battle of the Commissioners, but I'm going to actually call this one the Clash of the Crappy Chips, as you played your triple captain on a blanking Ekitike for a total of 6 points, and I played a bench boost for a grand total of 8 points. So I think I was expecting you to play your wild card. You hinted that you had a lot of transfers, so I thought, I'll play my bench boost to negate whatever he does. You had the same idea. You thought I was playing a chip, so you played your triple captain. In the end, it was a low-scoring week. None of your midfield did anything. Saka again benched. What are you going to do with him? Foden continues to ghost everyone, and Bruno G is the only one to score above 2 points in your midfield with a total of 3. So basically, it came down to me doubling up on Arsenal's defence, while Chow also recorded a clean sheet for Newcastle. My back three scored 22 points against your total of 14, which set me on the way to the victory. Mickey van der Ven again, man, scoring 0.
Yeah, he's gone now forever.
Yeah. My midfield didn't do much either, to be fair. Only Enzo registered an assist while the rest of them blanked. However, it was a comfortable victory in the end, and I could have saved my bench boost. The result sees me extend my lead at the top to 5 points, while you slip to second from bottom, and you've got a real fight on your hands now. Or third from bottom. You second or third from bottom?
I wish I just played my bench boost now against you, because I had a nice 17 points on my bench.
Did you?
Not that that
I
would have
didn't
been
even
enough.
notice that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
But
did?
so
Yeah,
I had
Dork. Wait, who did you bench? Oh,
I had
Goodmanson,
Goodmanson, who got 6
Anderson.
points, and
Yeah,
Anderson, who seems to be a point demon at the
yeah.
moment. But yeah, in the end, you're right. Like the differentials really were Enzo,
Mm,
Malik Tor, and your
mm.
Arsenal Timber, and I
Double up.
just
Yeah.
it was what it was. What can I do about it?
I was.
But yeah,
I think we both conceded to each other throughout the day, didn't we? I was like, I've lost. As soon as
yeah.
Harland
But
didn't do
you
anything,
after the Man United game, you were like, I've lost. I was like, it's only been one game.
that's because I was absolutely sure Ekatike was going to bag as your triple captain. So I was like, he's
Oh.
surely going to do something against
I
Burnley.
was in such a grump, mate, when that after Ekatike did nothing and then Wimbledon lost in the 99th minute to then
Oh
be pulled into a complete relegation battle now. That
dear.
we're only 2 points off relegation after being like 12 clear in October. I'm like I was so grumpy. So grumpy. But hey ho.
Did you take out? Did you take out? Am I looking at your team correctly here? You took out Pickford for Roofs.
I know. That's because I wanted to match up with you and then hope I had a couple of other differentials, which was a
I
mistake.
see. Yeah, I
Well,
mean, if you
mate,
stick with
but Everton
Pickford
were
got
playing
10.
Villa.
I
Like,
know. That was a shock. That was a shock,
yeah.
to be fair. So you
I
went from
know.
Cunha to Bruno G. Cunha got 4 points, Bruno G got 3, and then you went Pickford to Roofs, and you lost 8 points from that. So total of 9 points difference
Wouldn't have
from
been
your
enough.
but wouldn't have been enough. Let's move on. Let's talk about the next matchup, which was Connor versus Nixie. Cucurella eats Paella, 28 points versus Dip Your Toast in 44 points. So Connor had the potential to leapfrog down in the table for this matchup. However, he opted to take the long view and take a 4-point hit, resulting in a Miyaga tally of just 28 points, the lowest in the league of the game week. In came Gabriel and Mane from Wolves at the expense of Calvert, Lewin, and Keane. And Connor said to me beforehand that he didn't mind losing this one if he was set up to win his next couple after that. So time will tell if he actually made the right call here. Absolutely everyone in his team, bar Timber and Gabriel, blanked, with the rest of his team not scoring over 3 points each, except Captain Harland with a whopping 4. However, this matchup should probably be renamed the Battle of the Benches because Connor left the 15-point hauler Dorgu on the bench along with Dubravka, while Nixie had Dubravka, Mukiele, and Tarkovsky on the bench for a total of 19 points. So Connor left at least 15 points on the bench. Dan had at least 19 points on the bench. However, it ended up being a really, really comfortable victory for Dan, who beat Connor by 16 points. And despite bagging the 3 points in the table, he dropped a place thanks to Matt's overall points, those two being neck and neck at the moment. Nixie has the likes of Sanchez, Gabriel, and Timber to thank for his victory, as defences and goalkeepers profited from a low-scoring weekend. Connor, meanwhile, drops to 7th in the table, but is very much in the hunt for top 4 this season. So, yeah, very, very poor score from Connor there. Took a 4-point hit.
Not your dog didn't even like that.
No, didn't he? I'll have to edit that out.
No, but obviously what I love about this FPL, this Rivals FPL site, is it shows you really where your differentials are. And obviously, if you look here at the differentials, Nixie won this clearly in his differentials by 22 points to 6. That's where the game was won. So that obviously you say you left on the bench, but big
Yeah.
that Sanchez clean sheet there was huge, really. Otherwise,
It
because
was,
if he'd done nothing, it would have been 11 to 6. It would have been a lot closer. So there we go. But yeah, very much.
I've seen a few people. Connor's one of them. He's transferred in that Mane guy from Wolves, who had like a really bright
bold.
couple of weeks. I think he's like super cheap. He's guaranteed 90 minutes, and Wolves are improving. So I'm also tempted to take a look at him.
I think he's 4.7 million, something like that.
Yeah, really, really cheap.
Yeah.
Considering how unreliable strikers are this season, he's like a good option for a third striker just to sit on your bench and come in when you need him, and then you can spend the money elsewhere. Yeah, I've got one to keep an eye on that one, I think. Let's move on. CJ is not with us today and probably is thanking his lucky stars that he's not here, because we're going to talk about his matchup against Mike. Slobberschlei for a white guy, 51 points versus Odegaard, my title, 56 points. This ended up being probably one of the biggest matchups of the week. Highest score of the week went to Mike, while CJ can feel very unlucky, having got the fourth highest score of the week after playing his wild card, but he still lost. And Mike even took a 4-point hit for this one, bringing in 3 transfers, Wirtz, Enzo, and Gabriel. That move paid off for him, with that trio returning 24 points within this game week and seeing him to a narrow victory over fellow playoff contender Siege. Siege was rightly fuming earlier in the week on the early pod about losing this one, but did rise in the overall global rankings. Bruno Fernandes and Sanchez did well for him, but it was the fact that he left Tarkowski on the bench that did him over here, and he was trying to be clever, searching for differentials. A very, very good result for Mike, who rises to 9th in the table, while CJ stays in 14th. But yeah, he was pretty gutted, wasn't he? Especially on our private commissioners chat.
Yeah, I mean, your luck's not in. He just knows how I feel now. I'm the unluckiest manager in the league, but that's an unlucky defeat this week. Losing by only 5 points, but having the 4th highest score of the week. I mean,
yeah, exactly. 51 would have beat, I think, 20 other managers, something like that. Yeah,
that's head to head. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. But yeah, very much so.
Exactly. Right, moving on to the final one. We end this section with the closest key battle of the week. Jordan beating fellow Arsenal fan Charlie by just 1 point. Odegaard, 47, versus Saka, my voice note, 46. So actually 3 wild cards were played this week, with only one winning their matchup. Congratulations to Jordan, who beat Charlie by the narrowest of margins. I will say that his wildcard was more of a tinker than a complete rehaul of this team. He only used 5 transfers as part of his wildcard, doubling up in Arsenal defence with Timber, while the likes of Mane, Cash, Semenyo and Bruno F came in. Out went Wilson, Saka, Gahey, Calvert-Lewin and Tarkowski. That deadly defensive duo of Gabriel and Timber did their jobs for a combined 13 points, while Mukiele and Bruno Fernandes chipped in with another 16 points between them. Jordan even had Chalobah on the bench with 8, actually. Charlie, meanwhile, has an interesting looking team. He's got Hall with 9 points, Sanchez in goal for 11. It was really Saka and Szoboszlai that let him down this week. I think had Saka started, even if the results stayed the same, 0-0 with Forest, he would have got 3 points instead of 1, right? So
Charlie
he would have actually
won,
would have won this game. And Szoboszlai missed a penalty, which I didn't even realise. I didn't realise he missed it. I mean, I know that's why.
Yeah, I think he hit the bar, didn't he?
Did he? Okay. Yeah, so he missed a pen for -2. So he ended up finishing with 0 points, didn't even get the 1 for 90 minutes
painful
played.
For Charlie, that.
So that's really, really unlucky for Charlie. He's right in the scrap at the bottom of the table. I'm surprised we haven't heard more from him on the group about that loss. Like, had Szoboszlai bagged that pen, this would be a completely different story. But as it stands, he's fell 3 places to 21st, while it's a vital victory for Jordan, who rises 3 places to 16th and has won 3 of his last 5. So Jordan's on the up, while Charlie's really struggling, and the luck is against him. That is mad. I don't know why, I just did not realise until I looked into it today that Szoboszlai had missed a pen against Burnley.
I know, mad.
Was that when they were 1-0 up?
Isn't it mad that... Huh?
Was that when they were 1-0 up? I don't even know when that pen happened.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they were 1-0 up. Yeah.
And shouldn't have, I mean, presumably you were looking at it and wishing that Ekitike was on pens. I'm surprised Ekitike didn't take it.
I know, right? But hey, when your luck's not in, Ben, it's not in.
What's the mantra of your season?
Yeah. Like, I mean, isn't it funny as well that this week, just looking at all the fixtures, we've had 1 draw all season, and then this week we get 2 draws in one week.
I know. And there were 3 games that were won by 1 point.
I know, which is mad.
Should we round off the other results? So Matt comfortably beat Dassey 49-32. Fraser beat Jennings by 1 point, 44-43. I wonder if Tom took any point hits. Yes, he did.
He did. He took -4.
but did his transfers in? So he took James out for Gabriel, so probably netted some points there. Mukiele came in for Chalobah. I think they scored the same. Semenyo for Saka. Neither of them did anything. Rice for Xhaka. Neither of them did anything. So I don't know whether. Oh, and he also played his triple captain.
Yeah, on Bruno.
On Bruno Guimaraes.
That's the second Newcastle player he's triple captain this season.
I don't know why he's doing that. We're not having an amazing season by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, and actually, I've done Connor a disservice because I said that he got the lowest game score of the week. Actually, he's tied for the lowest. Farney got 28 versus Trav, 39. So Trav's back in the wins. And then Stu and Lewis is a big one, isn't it? Because we need to talk a bit more about Stu. Stu's in some form at the moment, but only managed to draw against Lewis, which is a very, very interesting result if you look at the teams and the form and everything like that.
Agreed. So I actually got a message from Balf the other day saying, why is no one talking about me on the pod? I'm clearly underrated. You do not look at my form and look at where I am. And I go, yeah, I do look at your form, mate. But you're not winning enough games each month to be in contention for the Win Manager of the Month. So I promised him I'd talk about him briefly. So what I did is I went on the FPL Rivals site and was like, oh, so let's have a look at some of the stats then and see where Balf's top. Now, Balf only tops 2 of the stats. And there's so many stats on the website. So I don't know what he's talking about being underrated, you know. And those 2 stats that he stands out with is being consistent in the weekly rankings in our league. So that means consistently in weekly points rankings, where he's top in that with 361 points. So that's pretty good. You're there second. So between you and him, it's pretty close. And then the other one where he featured was in most recent form. Now, granted, his most recent form has been good, where he's second behind Jordan by only a point in the last 5 games, with 273 and Jordan on 274. But that draw against Lewis completely knocks him out of being Manager of the Month. If he'd beaten Lewis, he would probably be in contention to win Manager of the Month, but he didn't. So, Balf, we've talked about you for all of what? A minute? Maybe 2, if we're generous.
And do rest assured, Balf, do rest assured, even if you're not being talked about, you are being thought about. I'm thinking about you a lot and you know, looking nervously behind my shoulder because you're running me very, very close for first place. And I was actually delighted to see that you dropped points against Peaks. That is an ideal result for me because both of them have been breathing down my necks recently. So for both of them to draw points in a week that I you know, bagged the 3. I'm very, very happy with that. But I think Stu can count himself a little bit unlucky not to be Manager of the Month yet, and I'm sure. I'm sure if he continues the way he is, he'll bag one at some point. So Stu and Lewis drew 44 all. Lewis played his wild card. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but maybe if he hadn't played his wild card, he wouldn't have gotten the draw. No idea. But there's another draw after that. Sam drew with Gazzy T 36-36. Gazzy T still having a torrid time at the bottom there. He's picked up another win against Dave 44.
He's had a good month as well, hasn't he?
He has. And then another really close game, Andy Jackson versus Nick. Andy Jackson grabbing the win here, 39-38. Just 1 point in that one as well. And then just to round things off, we've got Rafaro, who absolutely smashed Luke, 54-30. That's quite hilarious. I think the week before, Luke got one of the highest game week scores, didn't he? It's something like 80 or something like that.
That sums up this season, though, doesn't it? That you can go from 1 week the highest, second week one of the lowest.
Sums up Luke as well a little bit. He's stuck with Thiago as captain, but I mean everybody blanked this
Still
week,
the second luckiest manager in the league, though. By the way, just calling that out.
Luke is.
Yeah. Not sure
so that rounds
agree.
Off all the results. Should we talk now about Manager of the Month contenders?
Well, should we take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about manager of the month and then game week 23? Game week
Sure.
23?
We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back, Ben. We're
Thanks.
going to. I know, right? This is weird. Just me and you. We haven't done this. Just me and you for so long.
I'm just glad we're not doing a quiz, mate. Jeez.
Oh no, we could take a break from that this week. The only thing that I can have a positive thing about each week is that. But yeah, with obviously one game week left to go of this week, of this month, January. We've got our Manager of the Month award coming up very soon. So we've actually, for the first time, got a lot of managers in the hunt to win this. Normally we have 1, 2, or 3, possibly 4, but this week we have 7 managers in with a chance of winning Manager of the Month, which is quite amazing. None of them have won. Only one of them, though, has won all their games so far. So there's going to be an advantage to definitely one person. So we'll break each one down. We'll talk about Nixie first because he has played 4-1-4 this month
in January.
So he is
nice.
the only, in January. He's the only manager to do that. And he has a total of 185 points as well. So remember that because that's going to be crucial to who he's playing this week. Okay, the other contenders we've got, all with 3 wins throughout January. We've got Andy Jackson with 3 wins, Matt with 3 wins, Rafaro, Dave, Trotty, and Jordan. Now, this is where it now gets tight, is when we look at the points for each week. So as I said, Nixie has 185 points. Okay.
But 4 wins out of 4.
4 wins out of 4. But he's playing one of the other contenders this week. So it all comes down to one of these battles.
Right? Yeah.
So he is actually playing Jordan this week. Now, out of all the managers as well, this month, Jordan, as we've already stated, is the highest scoring manager this month by quite a distance compared to the other Manager of the Month contenders, right? So remember, Nixie's on 185. Jordan is on 215.
Wow.
Okay. So all Jordan really needs to do is win.
And he's won Manager of the Month.
Yeah, because the next person who comes under that in terms of points is Rafaro, who's got 203. So he's still got 12 points to make up on Jordan if he wins as well. Rafaro is playing Nick as well, who's on a bit of a Debbie Downer. I think he's lost 5 in a row.
Wow, okay.
So again, that could be interesting, right? So
yeah,
it's not all comfy for Nixie as he might assume, winning all 4 games in January, because all it takes is a defeat and that Manager of the Month could be going elsewhere. So it's definitely still all to play for. We've also got 2 others playing each other who are also in Manager of the Month contention, and that's Andy Jackson, who's on 189 points. So he's not far away, but he's probably too far away from Jordan if Jordan wins.
Right.
So if we're being realistic, it's going to be between Nixie and Jordan. But if Andy Jackson has an absolute worldy week, he's playing Trotty, who's on 194 points. So again, if Nixie and Jordan have absolute shockers, but Jordan wins, but Andy Jackson or Trotty have big wins, could be down to that. I think realistically, Matt and Dave are probably out of it. Dave's only on 175 points, and then Matt's only on 184. So I know it's going to be tight. I think realistically, we're going to cover some of their battles in a bit in the key battles, but we have got 7 contenders, so you just never know. With the way this season's going, you never know who's going to be in with a chance. But
basically, I think whoever wins out of Nixie and Jordan takes Manager of the Month. However, if Nixie and Jordan somehow draw, then it's all up for grabs.
Oh yeah, then it's definitely
amongst
up for
those
grabs.
others. it's
I mean,
nice
a
to see
draw's
some
quite
other names in
unlikely,
there.
but we've just
Yeah.
had 2, so
Yeah, it is. It is.
we've had 3 draws all season
Yeah, that's
of
true.
all the game weeks.
So I think
But
it's
you're
winner
right,
takes
yeah.
all from Nixie and Jordan, and then barring
Yeah.
any remarkable result, the rest of them will be in there. But it's
Yeah,
nice to
and
see some
what
other names in there that you know that are
yeah,
in
oh, yeah,
manager of the
definitely,
month contention,
people
like Dave,
we haven't
Trotty.
really talked about. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly
Tr-
that. You know,
Trotty's turned it around, doesn't he? As has Andy Jackson. Nice, very good
yeah.
work.
Yeah, and then obviously Rafaro's in there again. I think, he's having a pretty solid season,
He
continues
is,
to
yeah,
pick up wins. But it's nice not to talk about the same people
exactly,
each month.
exactly.
But yeah. So, should we go into a bit more detail around these? So
Yeah,
we've
let's
obviously
finish
got our
off with some previews.
so we've got our key battle previews for game week 23, which, let's be totally honest here, Ben, neither of us have written anything, but we're going to use the genius of the
Of
FPL
FPL
Rivals
Ryan.
website to
That's
do
it.
the previews for us.
Nice.
Okay. And
Yeah, we're
as
gonna
I
improv
said,
this.
we're gonna call out the big fixtures. Obviously, those who have earned the right to be a manager of the manager of the month contention. That's not you, Balf. I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about you. But we are going to talk about Andy Jackson versus Trotty first. So let me just share my screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. For those of you listening at home on the podcast, don't panic. Me and Ben will do our best to wing what we see in front of us. So, as you can see, as we're looking at here, Ben, Andy Jackson has won 3 of his last 5, so he's on a pretty good run. Trotty's
3
won
on the
4
spin
of
as
his
well.
last.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Trotty's won 4 of his last 5. Trotty's actually averaging slightly higher over the last 5 weeks with 51.4 points, whereas Andy Jackson's at 46.2. Now, Andy Jackson has used his wild card. Trotty has not, which could make this interesting. However, knowing Trotty from before Christmas, he didn't use all his chips. So I'm going to assume that, Andy, you might be safe that Trotty might not play it. But
Yeah.
Andy Jackson does have 3 free transfers heading into this game week, which could be. Now, what I love of this, Ben, this I've not seen before, whereas they only have 2 common players in their teams.
Wow.
So, and that's only Thiago and Harland. All the rest of their team is different.
Wow.
So there's
we
only
could
a
see
13% overlap.
Yeah, we could really see a big score either way, potentially.
Yeah, very much so. So Andy Jackson has Dorgu, which I'm assuming he's left on his bench for lots of bench points recently. He's probably his most informed player, along with Gabriel and Pickford, whereas Trotty's most informed is Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah.
He's also got James Gardner from Everton, who's been inspired recently.
Do you know?
And obviously Jackson Rice in there. Yeah.
I think James Garner has the same overall points as Saka this season. Which is mad considering their price difference.
Stat?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think I saw it earlier.
So, interestingly enough, then, these were their teams from last week. Obviously, scored very similar, only 5 points between them. But as we said, look at their teams; they are very, very different.
So different.
With only Harland and Thiago being the common players. Yeah.
Wow.
So it'd be really interesting here to see what's going to happen this weekend between these two. Interestingly, that Trotty's going with Vicario when Spurs can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives. But
I also like the fact that Andy has Gabriel, but Trotty went for Saliba, and then Andy has Virgil van Dijk, while Trotty's gone for Konate. So they've both got one Arsenal, one Liverpool defender, so you might see similar scores there. But you'd have to say Gabriel's having the better season than Saliba, and Virgil van Dijk's having a better season than Konate.
Yeah.
So you'd have to say that favours Andy, but they might get similar points,
True, exactly that. And I think there'll be a bigger question to be had around what Andy does with Dorgu this weekend. Obviously, he's coming off a good week against Man City. So be interested to see if he starts. But if you look at their overall rank, I mean, there's about 4 million places between them. So technically, Andy Jackson should be favourite to this based on where he is in the world. But again, if we talk about those bench points, look at Andy's bench points average per week.
14 points per week.
It's only the last 5 as well, by the way. That's 70 points he's left on the bench the last 5 weeks compared to Trotty's 19. So be really interesting.
The bench warmer cannot be defeated. I don't think he's going to shake that title trophy this season. That is amazing.
No. And then just by looking at their captain picks from the last 5 games, I'm assuming it would be safe to say that they might both go with Harland, but based on what we've discussed,
not if they listen to this episode.
Yeah, exactly that. So there we go. That was Trotty and Andy Jackson. So then the other key battle we've got now is Nixie. Or should we save Nixie and Jordan for the end? Because that is the big one.
That's the big one. That's basically the manager of the month decider.
So we'll go into Matt and Farney, Shrimp on the Varby versus Matt. Obviously, Farney does not have a chance to win manager of the month, but he is playing Matt, who does have a very slim chance of winning manager of the month. Now, for Farney, the stats don't look great, if I'm totally honest. But we'll talk about them anyway. Briefly, Farney, you've won 2 of your last 5, which is quite reasonable. It's probably better than me. So that's a positive. But you're only averaging in your last 5 games 39 points. That is quite a scary low score on an average. However, he does have still all his second half of the season chips. Whereas we look at Matt, he's won 4 of his last 5 with an average of 45.5 pretty much. He's used his bench boost already, but he does have those other chips. Common players, they only share 4.
Wow.
So again,
more than
the be close.
Last slot, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's Rice, Gordon, Harland, and Dubravka as they share. But again, if we then look at the previous teams from the previous weeks, Matt completely outscored Farney by a good 21 points. So having a look there, Ben, look at Farney's bench. I'm assuming Gurhey is going to come in. I'm assuming.
Yeah, at the moment he's doubled up on Man City defence, isn't he? Because he's got O'Reilly and Gahey at the moment, so he might play both. Who have City have got Wolves. You know what? He might double up in City's defence this week, and that'll be his differential. Now, because
Farney's, to be fair to him, has got a very solid bench. Midfield, sorry. Very solid.
Apart from Anthony Gordon, who's a bit of a fraud this season in
apart from he scored the most goals in the Champions League, bar Mbappe.
I know. It's mad, isn't it? All of them have been tap-ins, though, to be honest with you. I mean, not tap-ins, but like, I don't know if you saw last night's one. Wissa robbed the ball off a defender, passed it to Gordon, who had an empty net. So Gordon has actually equalled the amount of goals that Shearer got in the Champions League for Newcastle, which is a bit of a mad stat. But yeah, they've both actually got Gordon, haven't they? Yeah, do you know what?
This could be close.
Andy might be in for a shout here. If he keeps with Gahey and O'Reilly and City keep a clean sheet, then he's got more of a chance because they had Nunes on the bench there though, so maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, tough one to call.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this one pans out. But I mean, just looking briefly then at where they will rank globally, I think Matt's 1.3 mil, so quite high up there. This month he's already taken 5 transfer hits, whereas Farney's only taken 4. Again, Matt is pretty solid captaining Harland, so I don't expect that to change. I think out of anyone here, Farney is the more likely to go absolute rogue captain.
Yes.
And we'll see what pans out there. But yeah, Farney has also left a lot of points on the bench, to be fair to him, this month, at about an average of 10.4. So 52 pence he's left on the bench the last 5 games. That's quite a lot compared to Matt's 25, half of that.
Agreed.
So, interesting. Right. That's that one. And then our other manager of the month contender is Dave, who is playing Lewis.
Ooh.
So this one could be tight because neither of them are in the greatest of form. I know Dave's won 3 of his last 5, but he's only averaged 39.6 in those last 5 weeks, whereas Peaks has averaged only 40.2, but only has 1 win and a draw in his last 5. So again, there's a bit of luck that's probably come into play. They have quite half their team is the same, so they've got 7 players being shared. So they've both got Frimpong, Chalobah, Rogers, Rice, Harland, Ekitike, and Dubravka, which could make it interesting. So looking at their game week scores from last week, only 6 points separated them. Peaks is sticking with Palmer. Now, I'm intrigued to know what they're going to do with Palmer this weekend because apparently he's got a bit of a dodgy hammy, no?
Yeah, dodgy groin, something like that, yeah.
Dodgy groin, yeah. Again, I think Dave was unlucky with his midfield. None of them really did anything. Got a bit unlucky. They expect that to turn around a bit. But again, I think this one could be close. I think it's got close written all over it.
Yeah, agreed. That's a tough one to call, isn't it? This is
Very
so
much
cool,
so.
though. Looking at the comparison, I didn't know he'd added this.
I know, I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. For those of you that are only listening on the pod, definitely go on YouTube and watch the end bit of this clip so you can see some of
What
the
we're looking
stats
at.
that we're showing. Because it's I mean, they've both captained Harland the last 5 weeks. No change there, so I don't expect that to change. Again, average points. Dave's left 12 points per game week on the bench. The last 5 weeks, that's 60 points, whereas Peaks only left 28. But if you think about that, Peaks has only won 1 game, so
yeah,
it's not all about the bench. It's not
No,
always
it's
all
not.
about the bench. Peaks actually ranks in the top 800,000, which I did not realise. So
Wow.
that's very impressive there, Peaks. So
Well done,
congratulations on
Peaks.
that. Yeah, right. Let's get into the big one.
Look at the big one, yeah.
The big
Whoever
one,
wins this.
Jordan versus Nixie. Now, this is going to be close, Ben.
Yes.
This is going to be close. So, as we've said, Jordan has to win to stand a chance of winning Manager of the Month. Now, he's won 3 of his last 5 at an average, as we said, at 54.8. He's already used 2 chips, whereas Nixie's only used 1. So, be interesting to see how this one pans out. Nixie's won 4 of his last 5, so he's in a good vein of form, but it's only averaged 44.2 throughout that. And they both only have 1 free transfer, and they've got 10 shared players, which means it could come down to
1 or 2 players. Yeah, it's mad as well that they share 10 players, but the average points are so different. So obviously Jordan's.
Well, I think. Yeah, maybe they played their wild cards in different weeks. I can't remember off the top of my head. They might have played their wild cards to separate weeks, so it's kind of split it
merged.
A bit there. But they both shelled Gabriel, Mukiele, Timber, Rice, Rogers, Bruno Guimaraes, Semenyo, Harland, Dubravka, and Cash.
That is mad.
So
it's going to come down to 1 player, isn't it?
It literally is. Only 3 points separated them last week. So it literally is probably going to come down to the goalies, if I'm totally honest. If they keep the same team, it's going to come down to either the goalies or Bruno Fernandes or Ollie Watkins at the moment. Depends what transfers they play.
Yeah, it looks like it's Watkins versus Thiago up front, and then Mukiele versus Cash in defence, and then Sanchez versus Roofs in goal. And then what is it?
Yeah.
Fernandes
versus Wilson in midfield. So
that's so interesting.
It's going to be tight, isn't it? It's really interesting that actually their teams are very similar. So it really could come down to 1 or 2 players that could win them.
Absolutely.
Win them this game week. So just quickly then before we finish, both are very respectable in the world rankings. I think Jordan has been seriously unlucky this season. The fact that he ranks under 2 million and really is still I think he's a good still 6 points away from the playoffs, whereas Nixie's only 1.4 million and is right up there. Nixie has left a lot of points on his bench. look into that as you will. He's left 67 points at an average of 13.4. Jordan has left 51. So again, quite high. And both have captain Harland the last 5 weeks. So I doubt that changes in this point. So it's going to be super tight there. So I think that's the big one. That's the one that we'll all be looking at, I think, this week in terms of manager of the month.
Absolutely.
Jordan, Nixie, it'd be great to have a bit of fighting talk, see who's going to win manager of the month in the group. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, there we go. There we go, Ben. That's it. Key battles.
Lovely.
Didn't talk about me or you, thank God.
Woohoo! Who are you playing next? Who have you got next week?
I've got Jennings, of course.
Okay.
So I have no idea what's going to be played. We've both got a wild card and a free hit left. But he's averaging like 50 points a week in the last 5. Jennings, he's won 3 of his last 5, whereas I've only won 2. And my average is worse than Farney's at 38.6.
Well, I've got Smithy, and I'm not quite sure how to. He's got 3 free transfers. He's got 4 chips.
Tricky fixture, I'd say.
Yeah. Not really sure what he's going to do. He's very quiet in the group, isn't he? He's a bit of a quiet guy. He doesn't really talk too much, and I don't know what he's going to play. But we'll see what happens.
Great, Ben. Well, absolute pleasure as always.
Yes, mate. I think you should.
We
don't
need Siege.
Yes, we do, mate. We miss
you. Only joking. Yeah. Do I need to do the honours? Because I feel like it doesn't really matter anymore. There's nothing with me. I'm just going to carry on this season. All I care is it would be quite funny if I had to build the trophy, to be honest. But obviously, I'm not going to just give up like Gazzy T and not play. So,
yeah. I think you're fine there. You're safe.
Yeah. But we haven't got many game weeks to go. I'm just going to call that out. We're going into game week 23. Remember, for the playoffs, you have to finish top 8. That will stop after game week 35.
So really only 12 weeks. 13
game weeks left. Yeah. So 13 game weeks left to state your chance. Yeah. That's still a fair amount of points, though, isn't it?
It's a chunky sort of like third of the season. So there's still there's gonna be loads of changes. I think you could end up in the playoffs, mate. I think just need to go on a little run.
If I could win more than 2 games in a row, Ben, I'd be absolutely delighted. That's all I want. To end the season with a 3-game winning streak. That is my now target this season. Maybe it's in the next 3 games. We'll see. But yeah, I'll do the honours.
Go on, mate.
Absolute pleasure. Have a great weekend, and may the fantasy gods be with you. The end.
Good luck.
It's the Sonny and Shah Fantasy League.
And even though Son has left for the MLS,
our head-to-head league is still the best. Hosted by
Alex,
Ben,
CJ,
ABC.
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
It's another fantasy podcast.
Oh, fuck me.